Well, good evening. You are watching the Back Talk Bros. I am the K in Back Keys, and Aaron should be with us shortly. And you guys know we never know about Gooch, where he's at, what restaurant he's saving, but hopefully he'll be here tonight as we talk about the Chiefs Wildcard Weekend matchup against the Dolphins. We might hit a little bit going back, talking about the Chargers game. But as it was a lot of rookies, this game is going to be predominantly one about the wild card weekend, and we'll hit some NFL news probably as well. And as always, your guys' chat. So stay here with me after I hit this intro video.
Y'all ready for them Chiefs? Y'all ready for them Chiefs?
Well, as I said, good evening. And while we wait on Aaron to get here with us, we're going to do a little segment that I do sometimes called By the Numbers. We're not going to do very much tonight, but we are going to look at some Chris Jones stats. That's what I'm going to call them, Chris Jones stats. Chris got his 10th sack that he needed to hit his incentive, his $1.25 million incentive. We're going to look at Chris Jones, a couple of numbers here for us to get a better idea at what Chris Jones has brought the the defense this season. We're going to look at his true pressure score and his snaps per pressure. And this is part of a list. It's not just Chris Jones. This is a list of defensive players. And you will be able to see where Chris Jones stacks up against some of the rest of the best in the NFL, including guys who he wants to get paid more than. Yeah, let me see if I can get this on here for us really quick. All right, here we go. All right. Let's see. What are we doing here? StreamYard? All right. Not sure what StreamYard is. What's going on here with StreamYard? It's not letting me show this. A little weird. Never had an issue with it before. So maybe we'll be able to do this. Maybe we won't. Weird. All right. Well, anyway, here what you would have seen on the true pressure score here is that Chris Jones is number 7th on this list in true pressure scores. And that would be behind Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby. And you guys are, these are all edge rushers, Keys. Yeah. Next one on here is Aaron Donald. Yes, 33-year-old Aaron Donald. Right? 33 years old, I believe. 32, sorry. 32-year-old Aaron Donald, 3 years older than Chris Jones. And Aaron Donald is on the list there. Then Chris Jones shows up. And then immediately after Chris Jones on the list is Dexter Lawrence, who we've seen on other lists talking about how he's had a much more difficult assignments this season than Chris Jones. Khalil Mack, Josh Allen, the edge rusher, Quinnen Williams, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and on and on and on. The difference between Chris Jones's true pressure score of 53.8 and Dexter Lawrence's of 51.5 is closer than Chris Jones's to Aaron Donald's 59. So we're looking at a difference of 5.2 between Aaron Donald and Chris Jones, and a difference of 2.3 between Chris Jones and Dexter Lawrence. Chris Jones has had 39 high-quality pressures, while he's picked up 22 low-quality pressures. A low-quality pressure for this metric is one where basically the player is unblocked. He's not necessarily earning this pressure, which is why they consider it a low-quality pressure as opposed to a high-quality pressure where the players definitely earn it. And as I said, Chris Jones has 39 high-quality pressures here, which actually puts him as fifth most on the list. Micah Parsons has 55 high-quality pressures. Myles Garrett has 53 high-quality pressures. Aiden Hutchinson has 47 high-quality pressures. Nick Bosa has 42 high-quality pressures. Dexter Lawrence, who's behind him overall, has 41 high-quality pressures. And then we get to Chris Jones with his 39, 2 high-quality pressures ahead of Aaron Donald, who's ahead of him on the true pressure score. So pressure quality ratio, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to just do a bunch of reading here. But the next one that I had for you guys, and I'm sorry that for whatever reason, I don't know if it is the browser or if it's something StreamYard is doing, or it's a Mac OS issue. But the second one on here is snaps per pressure. So we had the number of pressures, right? We had the number of high quality pressures, which is part of what the true pressure score is giving us. But then snaps per pressure, right, is telling us, is a guy getting all these pressures because they're getting a lot of snaps, right? Are their numbers inflated because of the number of snaps that they get in a game? Some of these guys aren't getting as many snaps, so that's why they're not getting as many pressures. So snaps per pressure here, Micah Parsons legit. He is number one in snaps per pressure at only 5.4 snaps per pressure. Bryce Huff of the Jets is number 2 at 5.6. Owa of the Ravens is third at 6.4. Aiden Hutchinson, fourth, right behind him at 6.5. Closely followed by both Nick Bosa and Andrew Van Ginkel of the Dolphins, who I believe is not going to be playing in this game. I believe he had surgery, if I'm recalling correctly, or is going to. But Nick Bosa of the 49ers and Andrew Van Ginkel of the Dolphins, both at 6.6 snaps per pressure. Myles Garrett also tied with 6.6. Then Zadarius Smith of the Browns at 6.7. Then Quinnen Williams of the Jets at 6.9. You guys will notice I still haven't said Chris Jones yet. Josh Allen of the Jags at 6.9 as well. Then finally, we have Chris Jones tied with Greg Rousseau of the Bills and Aaron Donald of the Rams with 7.1 snaps per pressure. Right behind them with 3 more guys tied at 7.2.1 snap per pressure off of Chris Jones is Khalil Mack Will Anderson Jr., the rookie for the Texans, and Dexter Lawrence again of the Giants. So just to kind of give some context there, yeah, there's definitely guys who have been doing it at a greater rate than Chris Jones. He's still highly in that green category. He's still a great dominant player, but he's certainly not a top 5 or 10 defensive dominant guy, especially in terms of pressure, which is something that the Chiefs and Brett Veach will have to determine on their own. My guess, and I believe Aaron and Gooch and I all three talked about this last week, but my guess is that if the Chiefs had really intended on bringing Chris Jones back next year and in following seasons, they would have just paid out his incentive instead of having him play something like over 40 minutes of the game to get his sack or half sack. He needed a half a sack, but to get that half sack, to get his incentive, my guess is if they had intended on bringing him back, like in any way, they would have just given him that incentive if they were legally able to. Maybe they're not able to the way it was structured. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Liz is in the building. Hey, Liz. Hey, Liz. I was going to do this before and I didn't get a chance. But before you say that I'm wearing Tampa Bay Buccaneers colors again, go back and watch the Andy Reid's commercials, and you'll see he's wearing this exact jacket. So just wanted to throw that out there. You keep giving me a hard time. I'm not a Buccaneers fan unless Andy Reid's a Buccaneers fan. Liz says, can't wait to see Tyreek's welcome back response from the kingdom. Yeah, it should be interesting. What do you guys think? If you were there, what would your response be? I don't know what mine would be. Honestly, I didn't have anything against Tyreek leaving. The only thing I've had against Tyreek since he's left is the fact that he's nonstop ran his mouth about Kansas City. And so that's been kind of annoying. Like, build up your podcast by, talking about your team instead of talking about your ex-lover who was willing to let you go. Like, it happened. I get that you're pissed that we actually went on to win a Super Bowl without you, which is probably the greatest insult, right? The fact that we won a Super Bowl without him. But yeah, I have no ill will otherwise. Just shut up about Kansas City. Like, you're a Dolphin now. Embrace it. Embrace the present and the future. Stop looking back to the past and being sour. Tornado. Good to see you. Glad you're here. I know Aaron is awake. He told me he was awake. I think he's probably trying to get some dinner in and stuff before work. Aaron and Gooch are the hard-working ones, so that's why I'm here right now. I just let the kids try to kill each other for a little bit, and Hunger Games. This isn't Philly. That would be fun, though, if Tyreek had played for Philly and he went back to Philly. I'd love to see their reaction. Brown. What looks brown? I'm going to assume you're talking about my beard here because there's not 1 ounce of gray in here. Hannah, if you're watching, do not say anything. But yeah. I guess I can talk a little bit about the Chargers game while I'll wait on the guys to get in here. I will Google it, Liz. I will Google it and I will show you. I don't know if it'll show up though, since my pictures weren't showing up, but we'll see. We'll see if it will do it. All right, it's going to let me do this. I hope we don't get a copyright strike from State Farm, Liz. Do you see that jacket, Liz? Do you see that jacket? This is the same jacket, Liz. I am wearing Andy Reid's jacket. Andy Reid's jacket. I'm not wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers jacket. I'm wearing Andy Reid's jacket. And if you guys were hip like me too, you'd be wearing Andy Reid's jacket. Mike in Sweden. Hey, Mike. Hello from Thailand. Oh, you're on vacation. Awesome. Awesome. What time is it in Thailand, Mike? Well, Liz, I just did prove that it's not a Tampa Bay one. And I did prove that Andy Reid wears it. So unless Andy Reid is trying to tell us that he's going to be the next coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it is a Chiefs Andy Reid jacket. Even though it's actually my local high school jacket. If I'm going to work there, I'm going to wear their stuff and support them. 8:46 a.m. in Thailand. Okay, so you are time traveling. You are tomorrow morning, 8:46 a.m. And Mike, how long of a flight is it from Sweden to Thailand? All right, so we'll talk a little bit about the Chargers or anything you guys want to throw out there in the chat. We didn't really plan to do much talking about the Chargers because this game, in my mind, was kind of it was kind of like a preseason game against a team that had their starters out there for 4 quarters. Like that was kind of my opinion of the game, right? And I kind of made a joke in the RGR Discord, like, imagine being a Chargers fan before this game and you're looking at the Chiefs inactives, no Patrick Mahomes, no Travis Kelce, no the Chiefs starting defense, and some of the other starters are out in this game. And you're the Chargers fans and you're like, finally, we're going to beat the Chiefs just to lose by 1 to the Chiefs backups. Can you imagine how awful that would have been? Well, it was for them, but could you imagine how awful that could be? It kind of tells us how spoiled we are, right? I got to be honest with you guys. I really wanted to see Chris Olakundo as the quarterback in this game. I wasn't really impressed with Blaine Gabbert. I thought he looked just as bad as he looked in the preseason, which I guess confuses me because his arm is a lot stronger than Chad Henne's was the last couple of years or so. His feet move a lot faster than Chad Henne's feet have ever moved. Like athletically from foot to arm, Blaine Gabbert is a vastly superior athletic specimen at quarterback. But it goes to show you how important the mental part is. And to be fair to Chad Henne, he was here for what, 3 years, 3 or 4 seasons to pick up the offense. And, Blaine Gabbert has been here this one season. And the offense hasn't looked good no matter who the quarterback has been. So to be fair to Blaine Gabbert, maybe it's more of everything we excuse Mahomes for than it is that Blaine Gabbert just sucks as a quarterback. I don't know. But I really wanted to see Chris Oladokin. He looked exciting in the preseason. I kind of wanted to see what he would do in this game. But I understand that they played the backup because that's who these wide receivers are getting their practice time in with. And this game was more about getting those guys some real meaningful reps in games that in a game that we weren't really concerned if we won or not. And so better this game than other games, and you want to give them the more seasoned quarterback, I guess. So I get that part of it. But to me, yeah, I don't really care for Blaine Gabbert. I thought that LaMichael Pirine looked good, looked about what we expected from preseason. Part of the reason that Gabbert didn't look as good as he could have, in my opinion, was that he looked too much to Blake Bell, who should not be on this roster. I will say it again and again and again. I thought Justin Ross made one hell of a catch. Hardman looked good. Dare I say, the last week or two, he had maybe his best game I can remember as a Chief. And not statistically, I'm not saying statistically, but as a wide receiver, how he looked as a wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, I don't know. There's not much more for me to talk about with the offense. The defense did its job. We had a punt fake. That was fun. I watched that play over a few times, and I'm curious of what Dave Tobe's tell was for the punt team, like what they were looking for on a given punt that told them that one that they should fake it. Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting to lose this game with the backups, and so it was a surprise to win. But yeah, it's great experience from all the younger guys. I agreed with the decision to set guys out and treat this as a bye week for the starters, with the exception of Chris Jones playing and Travis not playing. Someone pointed out to me that I was wrong on Travis because it was Travis's own decision to not play, seemingly because the game didn't feel right for him or something. I'm not sure what that means, but little disappointed there. You guys know I campaigned last week. Just take the time to scheme up one or two or three really good plays. Put Travis in until he gets his 16 yards, take him out. If he still hadn't got it by those three plays or whatever, then you know what? Fine. Too bad. We gave you a shot to get those 16 yards. We gave you our three best plays to get you open here. So we tried. But apparently that decision was Travis's decision to not play. Either way, I still don't care about the decision to play Chris Jones, especially 40 minutes. We're lucky he didn't get hurt in this game. He's lucky he didn't get hurt in this game. $1.25 million. What if he torn his ACL? What if $1.25 million this year in an incentive over a half a sack be worth him tearing his ACL, missing the playoffs, the Chiefs getting bounced, and him not even playing next year to cash in? Like, it's dumb. Dumb all around. But again, it kind of tells me that Kansas City is fully invested on moving on from Chris Jones, unless I'm missing something as part of the collective bargaining agreement where the Chiefs can't just credit him for his incentive, which could be the case. But either way, if that was the case, I would still be like, too bad. You missed the first game of the season, so you missed one game right there to give yourself the opportunity to get your half sack. It's not like Travis. Travis missed that game due to injury. He was 16 yards away from 1,000 yards again having not played 2 games and playing most of the season injured. But it is what it is. Got a lot of the favorites in here of the channel. Mike in Sweden, we've already talked to you. 10 and a half hours from Sweden to Thailand, where Mike is on vacation. Knight, glad you're in here as well. Daryl is with us. Hey, Daryl, good to see you. Hopefully Aaron will be in here soon. Haven't heard from Gooch, but you know how busy he is when he's got that cape on, guys. So Liz says, I'm a big Mizzou fan, and Bobby Boucher should have got the backup spot, in my opinion. Did I say Boucher right? Or am I just reading that as in like the water boy? Knight says, Stevie, you know better. Unless Gabbert was hurt, Oladokin wasn't going to play. I understand the reasons that they did it, but I mean, listen, to me, right? If this game was about giving the receivers the opportunity, fine. But in my opinion, from what I've seen from these two guys, Blaine Gabbert does not really give you much of a chance to win a game. Chris Oladokin showed a lot of Patrick Mahomes-ness this preseason. And I think with a little bit better speed than Patrick Mahomes. Liz says, Bell is terrible. Proud of McColl working his way back up. Yeah, absolutely. I've never been a big fan of McColl because he's had all the talent of the world. And I just think there's always been reason to question his work ethic. But you got to give him kudos for working his way back up. The hands look pretty good. Maybe that's just because we've seen everybody else's hands for the whole season, and now, relative to theirs, has looked really good. I don't know. Knight says it was a throwaway game, the Chiefs standpoint, but was nice to get the W. Yeah, it was. I mean, it kind of tells you a little bit about coaching. It tells you a little bit, I think, about the Chiefs' depth that they have throughout the team, which, kudos to Brett Veach. Brett Veach gets a lot of hate that I think is better reserved for Andy Reid. Andy Reid's the one who's hiring the wide receiver coach guys. Andy Reid's the one who's hiring the offensive coordinators. Andy Reid, as best as I know, is the one who tells Brett Veach what he wants from his wide receivers. And I don't think there's one signing on this team, not one player drafted, that Andy Reid is not giving Brett Veach a thumbs up on. Brett Veach is coming to Andy. Andy is giving him a thumbs up on. That's just the relationship they've always had. Brett Veach got this job by being Andy Reid's assistant in Philadelphia and followed him here and got this job after John Dorsey was fired. So it's not like Brett Veach is the GM standalone, even though on paper, Brett Veach reports to Clark Hunt and Andy Reid reports to Clark Hunt separately. I don't think in any way that's the kind of relationship they have. They are still very closely married together in the player personnel part of it. And don't forget, Andy Reid was doing that in Philadelphia before he came to Kansas City, much like Bill Belichick. Not sure what we're talking about here, Knight. Who didn't what? Tag and trade coming? Absolutely. Yes, Liz, that's what I'm talking about. I disagreed with Jones playing. 100% disagreed with Chris Jones playing in a meaningless game because he couldn't get the half a sack he needed in 16 other games in the season, one of which he chose to set out and let us lose by 1. We could have been playing this week for the number 2 seed if we'd won that game. So, yeah, I'm not for letting him play 40 minutes in a meaningless game for a half a sack and the chance to get an extra $1.25 million. So Liz, I believe he 100% did. Very true, but he wouldn't be the first receiver we've seen this season, unfortunately, to stop their route. But yes, he did. Absolutely was. Not close to the talent evaluator that John Dorsey was, or is rather. But you know, that's not a knock on him or most anyone, because John Dorsey is one of the finest talent evaluators in the NFL. Yeah, Veach is a good talent evaluator. The issue is more, in my opinion. Hey, and I could be wrong, and we'll see what happens when Andy is gone or Veach is gone. But in my opinion, Veach is going out and getting what Andy wants, not necessarily, you know, I could see Veach clamoring for a wide receiver that he really loves, but at the end of the day, I don't think he's picking one player that Andy Reid doesn't want himself. Gooch is in the house. The cape is away, maybe. Gooch, how you doing, brother?
I'm all right. How you doing? I am in a state of mourning. Is what I am in while trying to do the Lord's work. I am in a state of mourning. I have my all black for today and tomorrow, and recognizing the end of college football as we know it.
Are you talking about Alabama losing, or are you talking about Nick Saban retiring?
I'm talking about Saban retiring. I don't think anybody realizes the effect that Saban retiring is going to have across college football as a whole. Like, all anybody really sees, of course, is Alabama, but I mean, there's going to be major job changes. There's going to be transfers out. Like, I think I just saw Alabama had the number 2 recruiting class for next year and the number 3 for 2025. And one of their 5-star receivers, as soon as Saban announced he's retiring, has already went back into the transfer portal. Like, it's going to change. I think the NIL thing, although we know Alabama has the money, I mean, the reason besides the fact that he didn't work out in the pros, one of the main reasons is people are getting paid too much money and wasn't taking coaching. And now these kids are making millions of dollars in college. Probably doesn't want to have to pay for people. And just like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And Saban isn't his only income isn't college football. He has like 4 other businesses that are doing extremely well. Like 72, 7 national championships, 9 SEC titles. All right, I'm done. I'll let you guys pay and do whatever.
Hey, Scott, glad you're with us. Yeah, Nick Saban has always been a hell of a recruiter, and I think you're right there, Gooch. Like, that was kind of a market efficiency that he brought wherever he was at as a head coach. Michigan State, LSU, Alabama. Like, he knew how to recruit. And now it's like that NIL money is your recruiting. And I don't know what impact it will end up having on college football and the NFL, but I don't think it'll be as positive as a lot of people try to make it out to be. Maybe if they put the money aside, you know what I mean? Like, what if they gave like a cap, right? Like, here's like some living wage money, and the rest of it goes into like an endowment after you graduate college.
Now, see, that would be that. Even now, it's like, what is it? Is it Arch Manning got $4 or $5 million and Shador's getting $3 million and stuff like that. Like now it's like, how much are you going to pay me? I even think Caleb Williams' dad was like, he can make more in college now if he stays than he could at right now. And it's going to get, I think you're right. I think it's going to get out of control. And then they're going to be like, oh, we need to put a cap on this money. You know what I'm saying? And quite honestly, I'm if that is the case, I understand why he's getting, when you're 70-something years old and you've grown up recruiting and doing football a certain way, like I could see where you would lose the love for something that you had passion for.
Right.
And I could see like that being the time to get out. Like, okay, I recruited these guys, but it's starting to turn into a money game, and who has the biggest pockets is who's going to get the best team. And I don't want to compete like that. It's not an even playing field. You know what I'm saying? Like, in retrospect, Harbaugh. I expect Harbaugh now to leave Michigan for the same reason. Harbaugh's a hell of a recruiter. You know what I'm saying? When people wanted him out of there for the last, 3 or 4 years, he just recruited his guys. He's pretty much owned the Big Ten. Now he's got a national championship. Get out before things change so much that your skill, what makes you great. And I think somebody said Tom Osborne, Barry Switzer, Nick Saban, Harbaugh, before he went to USC, oh boy at Oklahoma, Stoops, or not Stoops, is it Stoops? Lincoln Riley. Yeah, like those guys, that's what sets you apart. The ability to get those guys in and still make men out of them. You know what I'm saying? And now it's just everything's gambling, everything's money. What I'm really scared of is that Lane Kiffin is the front runner for the Alabama job.
That would be funny. Well, for me, actually, you know what would be funnier is if he got the Michigan job.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be fun to watch old boy Harms with that one. But yeah, Knight says put it in escrow. You know, I mean, here's the thing, right? I think that they have to do something like that. Let them have some money. That's fine. But yeah, not until you shouldn't have access until after you graduate or get drafted. I'm 100% on that. And go through a money management course taught by a current or former NFL player who knows what the hell they're talking about and knows, the temptation of having that kind of money. And I'll say this as well. If you get NIL money and you are on an athletic scholarship, that scholarship should disappear immediately. There should be no way.
And given to somebody who could use it.
Given to someone else who can use it. Absolutely. Like there should be a cap on how much NIL money you get, very low cap, and still get a athletic scholarship.
The problem is absolute power and money corrupts absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And they're not going to figure that out until everybody wants to get paid. And then all of a sudden is when they're going to really think that, man, we're kind of watering down the product. College football, do I believe those athletes should be paid something? Yes. Because they're making colleges a lot of money. The good teams are. You know what I'm saying? And albeit their pipelines for the NFL, only so many get drafted or go undrafted and still make it to an NFL roster. But I think what you're going to see is what the NFL did when Sam Bradford got $80 million as the number one pick or whatever and really didn't earn it. And then they're going to finally say, oh, you know what? Let's do this like the rookie contracts in the NFL. You can only get this if you stay the second year. Like if you get $5 million in NIL money, that's it for the 4 years. You're going to get this if you play 1 year, this if you play 2 years, this if you play 3. If you leave, you don't get the rest of it. And if you stay 4, then that's where the majority of the money is in case you get hurt. You know what I'm saying? You can't get drafted or whatever. I mean, it's something's going to happen like that, but it's going to get out. It's going to get worse before it gets better. What up, Dub?
Not a whole lot. How you guys doing?
I'm
think
in there
they're-
like swimwear, baby. How you doing? I meant to say this last night while Keys was on Dan's show, and I was thinking yesterday was Wednesday, and I was trying to figure out why we weren't on. That's a hell of a beard you got there, Keys.
Well, thank you, Gooch. Wife won't let me shave it for some reason, but keeping my face warm, so
It's the mountain man look, man. Chicks dig it.
Yep.
I understand it.
yeah, I think she kind of gave up a little bit on Travis and has went over to Jason. So I don't know.
Liz doesn't let me shave it either. I look about 20.
Is that why, Liz? Oh, because you look 20?
Yeah.
It's not because Liz has to think for Jason Kelsey?
I was
I
just
don't know.
figuring. I was just figuring since she's an animal herself, she figured Aaron would look good with a little fur on him too. Oh, missed you, LT.
Damn.
Yeah, what do you think, Aaron and Gooch? I agree they should get compensated for what they're doing in college. I still don't think that they need to get that much of the money while they're still in college. I think it can be set aside for them so that it's there after they've gotten their education and either get to the NFL or get into the real world and are a couple of years smarter for it, at least as far as experience and maturity. Well, I think we know that
no argument there.
where Liz is.
Hey, Scott, thanks. I like them. Blue's my favorite color, so I have a lot of blue.
Now I know why you and I are friends, Dub. My man. I'm gonna throw this out there just for you two boys, but I found some blue Chiefs jerseys. And I was gonna order some, but I didn't know, if y'all wanted to stick with traditional colors. And I found this all black Mahomes jacket, but the only problem is it's a bomber jacket, so I don't really like it, but it's pretty sweet. Oh, and for everybody listening, because Tiger Woods ended his partnership with Nike, all his shoes are discounted to like $60. Like there's a pair that was $160 TW4s or something like that. They're like $160. They're on sale for like $67 right now.
Well, with the hoodies or whatnot, they're gonna try to relate them to other teams and give us crap.
So what color of blue are we talking about here, Gooch? Like baby blue, navy blue?
Royal blue.
Okay.
Midnight blue. All the good stuff. I just bought a baby blue Yankees hat. I know, Dub, you hate the Empire, but it's a really killer hat, though.
I hate them. I hate Alabama.
Look, we will not have that slander. We will not have that slander on here. All right.
If I just got it's canceled, I apologize, but it would be the first time I've said anything to get it's canceled.
What are you getting at, Steve?
What?
What are you getting at?
What do you mean? What am I getting at?
We always say stuff to get us canceled.
Yeah.
No, well, I always say stuff to get us canceled.
Those two. I should go like that. Those two.
I just throw a shit out there or something once in a while.
So what do you guys think about this? Knight says there's talk that Harbaugh may interview for a couple NFL head coaching jobs. What do you guys think about Harbaugh to the NFL? Where could you see him?
Washington.
Oh, Aaron took his headset off, but you think there's a good possibility that Harbaugh would go to Washington, Gooch? I know there's been a lot of talk about Belichick to Washington, right? I think it's
but they haven't like Belichick and them. Here's the thing, and I was listening, and I will never say this more than probably just this one time, but Colin Cowherd had a really good explanation for all of that. One, Belichick's going to have another meeting with Kraft next week to see if he even wants to stay or anything like that. And if he doesn't stay, they're going to have to rebuild that entire coaching staff, organization, and all of that. On top of that, who wants to follow the GOAT? You know what I'm
Mike
saying?
Vrabel.
I think Vrabel ends up in San Diego. They have Herbert, and they've got Kellen. Is it Kellen Moore?
Kellen Moore.
And you already know Vrabel is not only a defensive player, he's a defensive coach, not like Brandon Staley defensive coach, like an actual good defensive coach. You know what I'm saying? And you won't have to pay him as much as you would have to pay Harbaugh or Belichick or Ben Johnson, who wants $15 million a year or anything like that. And you get a surefire coach, like a guy that's good at it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he took the Titans, who were not really great, to an AFC Championship game. He's coach of the year, and they've been in the playoffs. And I think Harbaugh goes to Washington because Cowher said, which is really great, and it made a lot of sense to me. He doesn't want to do an AFC team because he doesn't like coaching against his brother. And their parents, live in between Washington and Baltimore. And if they're that tight-knit of a group, they can drive to either game and watch their boys coach. It all makes sense. He said, Harbaugh said, was it faith, family, and football are the three things that he's got. You know what I'm saying? So it makes all the sense to me. I don't think Bill's leaving New England anyway.
What about Harbaugh to the Bears, though?
Oh, because he played for them? See, that's what I thought initially. Like, that was my take from the minute that he won the national championship. I was like, oop, in Chicago. But unfortunately, the Bears have already come out and said Eberflus is going to get another run at it next year.
Okay. I thought he might go there.
So that would have been smart. I mean, he played at Michigan. He coached Michigan to a national championship. He played in Chicago. It'd be like a homecoming for the second time. You know he has the cachet to get. Like, if he had a bad year or two in a row, they'd let him try and figure it out because he's got to build his culture. But they're going to let Eberflus stay there. So, you know what I didn't? Jerry Jones hasn't committed to McCarthy past the playoffs.
I don't know why a team would right now. And I've talked about this on Dan's show a few times now, but I think there's a great possibility that a team that gets bounced from next weekend, and it could be Nick Sirianni's Eagles, that we see a head coach get fired. A team with an underperforming roster could be Nick Sirianni and the Eagles. It could be Sean McDermott and the Bills. It could be a number of teams, a few teams out there who make the playoffs, get bounced this first week. And listen, if Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel's already out there, hell of a coach. If Bill Belichick is available, are you keeping your head coach if he just let it, like Nick Sirianni? I think I saw the record after without Shane Steichen, Nick Sirianni's like 13-12 or 12-13, something like that. Without him, like, all of his successes came having Shane Steichen with him. If you're the Eagles and Bill Belichick is there, would you consider moving on? I think you would.
Shout out to Dan Talks Football. It's a good program, by the way. Check his weekly picks video, and he does sports betting and all that stuff. And a friend of the show. So shout out to Dan Talks Football. If you're not subscribed over there, check my dog out. And yeah, look, I don't care if I have a head coach. if Belichick becomes a free agent, I'm making the phone call anyway. Like, I just
That's what
am.
I'm saying.
Like, unless it's okay. I think the only people who don't call Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. John, which one is it? Is it John? One of the Harbaugh boy in Baltimore.
John, yeah.
I think everybody else picks up the phone and calls if Belichick hits the market. I would. Like, I know it's a long shot, but if you thought about coming here, what do you want? And then I'd probably say to my head coach, if he said, yeah, you're fired, bye-bye. He might need to. We talked about coaches getting stale when you've been somewhere so long. Maybe he needs re-energized someplace else. You can't tell me his mind isn't as sharp just because he's had this bad of a couple years. You can't tell me he still doesn't. He's forgotten more about football than 30 other coaches in the NFL has probably learned. I'm damn sure would make the call.
Yeah. And it would be horrible if Antonio Pierce didn't get the Raiders job because the Raiders looked at someone like Mike Vrabel and brought him in. And I'm not just saying that as a Chiefs fan, I wouldn't like it, but I like Antonio Pierce as a coach from everything I've seen from him. And I think he's a great fit for them. And I don't say that facetiously like I do. Like, I think Nathaniel Hackett would be a great fit for them. So, yeah,
I think he gets the gig because they made that mistake with Bisaccia. Bisaccia should have got the job when he led them to the playoffs. The team loved that guy. They played hard for him, and then they let him go and brought in McDaniels. I don't think they make that mistake again. Those players are willing to run through a wall like Dan Campbell's players are. I think you give him the job and let him see what he can do. And Dan said something.
Bill O'Brien is what I wanted to hit that he said.
Yeah, but I still think Vrabel is so good of a coach that, like, almost like you said with Belichick, there are teams that have coaches right now who should be considering firing their coach and bringing in Vrabel. He's that good. I mean, he's not Andy Reid good, but he's pretty close to top 3-4 active head coaches in the NFL. Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, John Harbaugh.
Hey, before we continue on that, are any of y'all KU fans?
Hell no.
They lost to University of Central Florida in basketball just now, 65-60.
My uncle is, so he won't be happy.
No, I'm not a KU fan, so I just thought I'd throw that out there just because the score just came across my screen.
I love hearing about them losing. So.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear this. Did you guys hear this? Dan said the Raiders gave permission to the Chargers to interview Antonio Pierce.
Never mind. Wow. So the Raiders are going to Raider like they always do instead of being smart. And Dan, on another thing you said, the Seahawks job is not appealing because Jamal Adams is overpaid and he's lost 2 steps. And now he's more frequently injured. And as much as I like Geno Smith can't be my franchise quarterback. And you're paying him a whole lot of money. So it's not like you can just sit him. So, I mean, unless you're going to be like the Broncos and not care about your cap for the next couple of years, I don't think that job's appealing at all outside of DK and Walker and Lockett.
And I wonder if they're doing in-house with that. Sorry, what was that, Aaron?
I said I like that dig you got in on Denver.
I was just saying, I wonder if they were kind of already thinking of going someone in-house in Seattle, and that was part of Pete Carroll. Like, he didn't get fired. He's going to be taking a senior advisory position of some sort. I kind of wonder if it might be an internal candidate there. But this one, man, there's so much to talk about here with just head coaches, but this one's interesting because to me, Antonio Pierce embodies the exact attitude of what it means to be a Raider. And
Dirty.
if Mark Davis even allowing this to happen makes it seem like all the crap that he was talking to Chandler Jones about how, Raider for life and, we take care of our family, once a Raider, always a Raider, blah, 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 that it was a bunch of BS. I mean, Antonio Pierce had Raiders fans chanting his name as they walked off the field this last game. Like, how can you even entertain letting the Chargers interview him? But even from the Chargers side, I don't think I think they should go offensively.
They're that confident that he won't be going anywhere, probably, is my guess anyway.
Or maybe they just don't. Maybe, he loves the job. He's from California, right? I think he grew up a Raiders fan. So maybe that, they're just confident in that. Or maybe they don't know and they want to give him the chance to interview. And, so if he doesn't get the job with the Raiders, at least he's had that interview with the Chargers. And if they liked him, then, if the Raiders don't want to hire him, but I would think it would be a no-brainer. But the Chargers, I think, should be looking offensively. Justin Herbert has had 2 head coaches. One with Anthony Glenn. Right? No, Anthony, what was it? Did I say that right? Lynn.
Anthony Lynn.
Lynn. Anthony Lynn, which let's all giggle, and Brandon Staley. He's had 3 offensive coordinators now. I think you have to bring in someone offensive, right? Like Ben Johnson from the Lions. I don't know if you could bring in Todd Monken after 1 season with the Ravens as their offensive coordinator, but I still think you got to bring in an offensive mind. Let Justin Herbert have consistency there by bringing in an offensive mind and finding the way to get your defensive coordinator. Because I understand you got a lot of talent on the defensive side, but your franchise is centerpieced around Justin Herbert, and you're going to let that go to waste by more mediocre offensive coordinators and bringing in a non-premium head coach. Like, to me, Mike Vrabel or an offensive head coach like Ben Johnson. But I could still see Mike Vrabel being in Las Vegas if they let Pierce go, because he's got that same kind of tough attitude, Gooch, right? And he would bring discipline to a Raiders team who actually was pretty disciplined this season, but before that has been the laughingstock of discipline, right? How many games have we won simply because the Raiders would get 15 or 20 penalties in a game?
Do you know that since Pierce took over, they're one of the least penalized teams in the NFL?
I just said that.
Took over? Oh.
But I said before this season.
How many headshots did they go for against us, though?
I mean, either guy, that's going to happen, though, right?
If you want me to be honest, as a Chiefs fan, I don't want Vrabel in the AFC West. I don't want Belichick in the AFC West. Hell, honestly, I hope the Raiders Raider, and I don't want Pierce in the AFC West. I prefer them all go somewhere. But as a football fan, Pierce needs to stay with the Raiders for what he's done. And the Chargers, I'm with you, either Vrabel or a really super intelligent offensive mind. And that's who should be in San Diego. The Bears are going to screw themselves over with Eberflus, which is fine. And I think if New England lets Bill go, or if they can get Harbaugh needs to go to Washington. Let's get EB down in freaking Atlanta. I think that'd be good for him. Get a rebuilding team so the expectation's not super high, but he's got some weapons there. And let's roll. Let's see what we do. And Dan, no. If Bill O'Brien, no. No to Bill O'Brien at Alabama. No.
I'm wondering what he was saying by bringing him up, though. Did he want him to take over the Chargers position or what? Because I'd be good with that.
Who is that?
Bill O'Brien.
To the Chargers?
Yeah.
That would
No,
be
he thinks
funny.
he thinks Bill O'Brien is going to get the job in Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I really think it's going to be Lane Kiffin because Lane Kiffin really wants that job.
Lane Kiffin goes through teams like Leonardo DiCaprio goes through 24-and-a-half-year-olds. Like,
Or like Amber Turd goes through bed sheets.
Now we're
that's
canceled.
when she has the runs.
Now we're canceled. I just had to get it out there.
Yeah, listen. Seriously though, Lane Kiffin is like 2 years max, 3 years at every school he's ever went to. I don't know. Dan says he's going to have a short list for the Bama job, but spoiler alert, I really think it's Bill O'Brien.
It won't matter. No, the standard that the problem is the shadow that's going to loom over. Like when Saban took over, Bear Bryant was the shadow, and it took a long time to get out from under that one. And now Saban's going to be the shadow. Whoever follows that, it's going to be some years before they come out from under it, and it's going to be a tough gig. Whoever takes it initially.
They haven't been as great the past couple years, though.
So talking about Bill O'Brien and talking about Bill Belichick, let me ask this. Bill Belichick stays in the NFL and he's a head coach again somewhere else. Is he bringing Josh McDaniels back as his offensive coordinator no matter where he goes?
Yep, because he's bringing him back to New England if he stays in New England.
Do you think that he stays in New England and gets to keep a GM title if he stays?
No. If he stays, Kraft is smart enough to know that they need a GM. Bill can't do both jobs anymore.
Hopefully Bill is smart enough to realize that. I threw this out on Dan's show Monday night because he did his Black Friday or his Black Monday special after the firings or some of the firings. But I threw this out here. What would you think about bringing in both John Dorsey and someone who is a good communicator and understands the cap? And those two guys are your team in the front office for Bill Belichick. Like,
I was wondering about whoever hires him, if they're going to let him be GM as well. If he doesn't stay in New England.
I really think that, what Gooch said with his age, hopefully he's realizing, and hopefully, even if you have to, would you do a retread if you were a team and be like, okay, you're 72, you can't be a GM anymore. If you want to bring Thomas Dimitrioff or Scott Pioli back in as your GM, you can do that, but you're not going to be the GM. Would you do that?
The problem is, honestly, with Dorsey, somebody would have to have control over him, and Pioli, no, because everywhere else that they've been, all you heard about was terrible culture in the building. And if you're trying to be successful, you don't need that in your front office. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if they were Dimitrioff, yeah, I would. But I think Bill is smart enough too to realize, like, I think he just wants to coach. Like, I think he just wants to be a ball coach again and not have all that extra stuff to do and just, deal with the field stuff. And yeah, I would probably do, like, Dimitrioff would be cool, or bring somebody and be like, hey, like, you guys, if they did something like Clark Hunt does, like, okay, Veach answers to me, Andy answers to me, y'all need to work together. You know what I'm saying? I think it could work.
And I'm not
Jesus.
sure. I'm not sure to what extent it actually works like that. I know that they've said it works like that. I still think that Veach is basically getting the thumbs up from Andy, but I threw this one out to you guys in a text, I think a few days ago, right? What about a team who maybe loses wildcard weekend to the 7th seed in the AFC? They've been to the AFC championship game, 3 out of the last 4 years, have a hell of a quarterback. They've beat the hell out of Belichick's Patriots over the last few years. They have a pretty good GM already. You're Bill Belichick. Would you consider, well, if you're this team, would you fire your head coach and replace him with Bill Belichick? Belichick would only be an hour and a half flight from his home, going from his home to Orchard Park, New York. Would you do that if you were the Bills? Would you do that? Would you be really interested in that position if you were Bill Belichick?
If you really wanted to give a big middle finger to the Patriots if they did you dirty, that's what I would do. I'm not sure if McDermott saved his job getting the 2 seed, but even though they got the 2 seed, they still haven't looked great. Like they could have been had in all those last 5 games that they won. Like if they get upset by the Steelers, he's done. Like I think he has to be AFC Championship game, and if he loses, it has to be close. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's the only way he keeps it. And even then, I'm still making the phone call. I already said it. I'd make the phone call.
Right.
Harbaugh, Reed, McVay, Shanahan. Everybody else, I'm calling. Oh, I'm sorry, D'Amico Ryans, because that guy is good.
Hey, Hannah.
But those guys, outside of those guys, I don't care who it is, especially Vrabel too. Like I'm not gonna leave Vrabel out of it. Like I'm still calling. Hey, what's it gonna take to get you here? Are you interested in coming here? You know what I'm saying? Let's talk shop. Hey, Anna.
Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, what about Doug Peterson and the Jags? Jags should have made the playoffs. They looked like a team that didn't have much fight in a win or go home game. Could Doug have a short welcome, kind of like he did in Philly?
I think he's got one more year. I think they're going to say Trevor was injured and he tried to play that last game and it just didn't work out. I think he's got one more year. He might be on the hot seat too. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Speaking of another one who, like, I just want to put this out there. If this team, regardless of his lack of Super Bowl wins, if the Steelers let go of Mike Tomlin, that guy can write his own ticket also.
You would think.
Not me.
I think the only way that happens is if the Steelers owner dies and someone else is making the decisions. They've had 3 head coaches in their franchise history? Is that right? Something like that?
3 or 4. Chuck
Doesn't
Noll.
sound right, but I think you're right.
Chuck Noll.
Bill Cowher, Mike
and then Tomlin.
Who
See, the
was
thing
the
is
first one?
that you really Chuck Noll.
Oh, they had
Really?
I guess that was from since 69. Those 3 guys. They had a few 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them between 1933 and 1968. But they've had 3 since 1969.
So in the last 50 some odd years, they've had 3 coaches. On
I
top of
feel
that, I
like
don't
I
know if
can
anybody
defend.
else played. There was a game like Tomlin could write his own ticket and he'd get a lot of people coming. There was a game where they talked about the players voted on the coaches that they would want to play for, and number one was Mike Tomlin.
So he'd be able to recruit all kinds of guys.
Yeah, number three was Andy Reid. It was Tomlin. I can't remember who the second one was. It was somebody that you wouldn't think would be as high as either Vrabel or Shanahan, and then there was Andy Reid, and then Sean McVay was after Andy Reid, and that was based on the players. Tomlin's a good coach.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with all these head coaches and head coaching vacancies. But, there's a lot of hot names out there. And I still, man, it's going to be crazy to see where Vrabel ends up, to see if Belichick comes back. To me, Vrabel would make sense going to the Patriots now that he's out there. But yeah, I don't know. I think whatever team would be good at getting a really good coach, and it's just a matter of what vacancies are there. But I think there's a few coaches that you go ahead and you make a vacancy for. If this coach is available, you need to strike while it's hot, which is kind of ironic because that's what the Titans owner said when she was asked about firing Mike Vrabel versus trying to trade him. That, trades take time and they didn't want to be behind other teams in finding their new head coach. Antonio Pierce could be a good Mike Vrabel replacement in Tennessee. He could bring in Eric Bieniemy as his offensive coordinator.
Oh, that'd be nasty.
Well, I still think Bieniemy with Tomlin in Pittsburgh would be about the nastiest combo. But that
that's no doubt. That's no doubt. Tomlin on the defensive side and EB doing the offense, that would
that would be a nasty team. All right. Well, unless you guys in the chat have any more head coaching questions for us here.
Well, Liz brought up a question. Are we wanting to do a playoff picks pool?
I'd have to ask Hannah if I can borrow some money.
No, we're just going to do the picks here on the thing. Yeah, let's do it.
Hannah the sugar mama.
I mean, she does give out good shakes. I'm trying to get up there to give me one, but the snow that's going across the country is kind of keeping me stationary.
I want the French silk pie.
She really is the sugar mama.
I like it. But Sugar Mama had a question of her own.
Who, your Sugar Mama?
Well, I guess a comment. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell to get all notifications.
And Hannah loves Keys' beard. It reminds her of Jason Kelsey's beard. So that's 2.
Two what? I'm not sure what 2 is, but
2 out of 3 that have the Jason Kelsey beard. I'm not going that. I'm not doing that.
I don't know.
Well, you don't have a Sugar Mama, Gooch.
This is true.
I will go as long as I can stand it. At some point, it usually starts itching and I break out, and it's like I can't do this anymore.
Even Dan is sweet on the beard.
Listen, it's not. It might look beautiful, but functionally, it gets in the way of a lot of things in life. Like I can't eat without getting food on it. I can't take a drink without getting water or coffee or anything stuck on there. So,
this is why I don't do
I keep it trimmed up pretty almost daily.
Well, if I'm ever camping, Gooch, and I lose my way and I need snacks and I have the crumbs there, but it's
That's
like
brilliant.
it's all things fluid. It's just like it just stays there.
That's brilliant. I'm like, oh, I had that Twizzler there from last week. Sweet. I'm sorry, I got to stop
Pig's
track
pool.
when I came in. So,
Was it Pig's pool? I don't
yeah,
know. We need to talk about that.
I don't mind doing the picks thing videos again. I think that'd be fun.
Then everybody gets to hear Liz's mouth, and I don't know how many want that.
On second thought, since you said that, let's go ahead and rethink the picks pool. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
And her friend Brittany
I'm serious.
might have Kim involved behind the scenes or something. She won it last year. Or the last
Oh,
year.
yeah. She can't be behind the scenes. I owe her a beating. I was wondering, I couldn't remember who beat me in the Gooch Invitational last year, and it was her.
My
Yeah.
father's picks pool. Brittany will be on. That's what she means by that. Hannah is welcome to join us. Holly. I'd say Dan talks football.
Oh, I'm glad you finished that because initially you just said Dan, and I thought I was going to have to make a special flight. I've been to your house. I was going to come choke the shit out of you if you had just stopped at Dan.
Oh, we could talk to Thunder.
Thunder. I forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
What else we got?
He kind of started some stuff with me on Twitter this last week again.
You too.
Hey, I did not start this one.
Keys is the antagonist of the brothers. I just want y'all to know that. I say I want the smoke. Keys gets the smoke, and he just keeps the fire going. A lot of times I just get on the, it's not called the Twitter anymore, I get on the X. And I usually, because Keys is usually his first comment is at the top of my little feed there. So then I have to go, oh, what we talking about here? And then somewhere in there, Keys has called somebody a moron in the nicest way possible.
First off, when you say the X, I start thinking you're talking about ecstasy, which might get us canceled. But hey, listen.
Definitely didn't go there.
Well, I guess I've watched more movies with drugs in them then. But listen, I was utterly behaving myself. I just posted the video that the NFL released last week after the Dallas-Detroit game, talking about how players have to report in as eligible. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the video, right? But it was like it was like an NFL video for NFL refs, and it was making it clear that for an offensive lineman to report as an eligible receiver, there has to be both a verbal signal conveyed to the ref and a hand signal and a verbal signal. Like it has to be both. It can't be one or the other. It has to be both, right? And so on my own Twitter, not to Dan, not to anybody else, I retweeted it, put it all out there like, hey, this is making the Lions case. Like, it was clear from the video, the guy that they said was eligible was 15 yards downfield, and the other two guys were right there in front of the ref. Like, the ref couldn't even hear him as far away as he was, right? Like, if he said, hey, I'm the eligible one, you would expect the ref to turn around and be like, who's talking to me, right? Didn't do that. He'd already got everything from the two guys who were standing there and went over to the Lions. I was just pointing this out. on my Twitter. Then Dan came in, started talking his trash.
Back to the picks pool. We do something similar to Dan's picks.
Not Dan
videos.
Talks Football.
I'm talking about Dan Talks
Yeah.
Football.
I just want to make it clear. I'm not. Different Dan. There's a lot of Dans.
So we go against the point spread, and then we do the over-unders as well.
So Liz is bowing out. Gooch, do you read this as Liz saying she's afraid that you will beat her if she does it this year?
Because she already knows. It's a fact. She knows.
What championship is she talking about?
I don't know. The paper championship, the loudmouth championship, the full of crap championship. One of them. But, you know, it's Liz. Like, any excuse to get out of getting beat is what she's going to take. And I'm okay with it. Like, I understand. I would fear me too if I was you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the reality of it.
That's right. She won fantasy football for her league.
Oh,
Hey, Liz is
Last
on my
most
side.
of the year.
how cute. Did you play with those idiots you work with? Wait. She's not calling you guys idiots, by the way. This is me. So you can bring all that my way. But
Oh, well.
oh, Hannah, I'm glad you said that, because initially I thought Liz had said it was the best experience of my life, and I was gonna say when she went, when she had laryngitis and couldn't talk. You dadgum right, that was the best experience of my life. But since it's you, I got the chocolate for you. You know what I'm saying? I want that Oreo shake. Oh, can you do chocolate in an Oreo shake? Oh, that might be good.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
Brett. Who's Brett?
sounds good.
I didn't call Britt an idiot. She wasn't working with you then.
I don't know what. I'm lost on this conversation. All I care about is Liz agrees with me that the Lions should have won. They called. I'm going to leave it at that.
I don't know if you should put any stock in it, though, brother. It is Liz. I'm just saying. Well, she's not an idiot. She's good people.
As we all try to be.
Except for me. I know I'm a heathen, and I claim it.
I was going to ask you about being corrupted by money.
Me?
Yes. Since you brought it
No.
up earlier.
I don't need to be corrupted by money, brother. I'm just corrupted. That's all it is.
I was going to say he knows from experience.
Stevie, stub your toe. See, I told you why you shouldn't put stock in it, Steve. She's already hating on you, brother.
No, she said you all but Stevie.
Ah. I hate you too, Liz. And I was even nice to you on
Probably
my New
always
Year's
will.
Eve video. I was even nice. I must have been drinking.
I was wondering.
I thought you were like Ocho Cinco and you don't drink, Cooch.
Gooch getting in his feels.
It was a new year, and I don't know,
Nostalgic.
near-death experiences will bring that out of you when you think of certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Wait, near-death experience.
Or loss.
Well,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a happy topic. Anyway.
We got
I'm
off.
sorry.
Oh, I guess
Sorry,
we never
boys.
got started, did we?
What's that?
We were gonna
have
get
it.
we were gonna get started talking about previewing the Chiefs and Dolphins. But yeah, I said I thought we got started, and I'm like, no, we never got started. We were getting ready to get started, but
Oops.
yeah.
I knew that was coming. My wife has to talk shit to me.
I'm assuming he has one of those daily when he goes to sleep and wakes up. You know what I'm saying? And you're still there. I'm just kidding, Liz. You know I love you. I'm down 75 pounds, boys.
I just wait
That's
for
good.
Liz to wake up before I get in bed.
That's good stuff for the new year.
Yeah, congratulations.
She's a light sleeper, so I'm not gonna go get in bed and wake her up.
I had you guys tell me, like he's telling me, it was like you can really see it in my face where I lost weight, and then a lot of people started telling me that. So then I started asking them, like, how big was my head? You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead and answer that, Liz.
I think we just decided on extra large or something.
Yeah, are you going to need a different cap size by the end of the
Nah,
year?
nah, I still keep my fittings. Nah,
Depends on how the picks pool goes.
yeah, no stuff.
He even admits it. There will be some shit talk between him and Liz. I'll go ahead and forecast that.
So I don't know if this will get me a near-death experience, but I will say it hasn't happened in years, but there was a year, just a few years into marriage, that I learned that Hannah has had a history of sleepwalking. And I guess it hadn't happened since college, but the reason I found this out is because we were at a hotel room somewhere and I woke up to like her rubbing the top of my head. And I'm just like, what are you doing? And I just kept saying it and like nothing. She just rolled over and went back to bed, you know. And then there was another time I woke up and she was like doing, I don't remember what she's doing. She's doing something somewhere around the house and was like housework. I'm like, what are you doing? But then she
start
also,
recording it.
Well, it like freaked me out, Aaron. Like, you know, sleepwalkers kind of freak me out because you don't know what they're going to do. And I've since learned that you don't even mess with a sleepwalker. There's like a lot of violent crimes that happen when people are sleepwalking. But like, it freaked me out because my sister did it when she was younger. Like, I would wake up,
brothers,
and she'd be like standing over someone's bed with a knife in her hand. So, but no, then Hannah also, she'll sleep with her eyes open a little bit. Like her eyelids don't shut sometimes. And like that creeped me out the first few like times I saw it. Because I thought she was awake.
The channel I watch from time to time is Selena Spooky Boo. She records herself sleepwalking constantly. She's hilarious when she's awake, but good Lord, I didn't expect her to be so funny asleep.
This is why this is why Keys is a way better man than me, because if you're sleepwalking around me, like I'm taking you outside to see if you'll mow the grass. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing stuff like that. Like I'm fooling around with you. Like I'm gonna grab a cigar, stick it in your mouth, and light it and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm that guy. I'm terrible. I've been told numerous times I'm going to hell, but it's for other things, not for this. I'm just putting it out there.
I know I'm here for it, Gooch.
Oh man, Keys, that would be the gift that keeps on giving. Like, are you kidding? I'd let her wake up, walk around the house, and then when she goes to bed, I'd put like Jello in her hands and all kinds of snacks around her, and then like wait till she wakes up and goes, "What happened?" Like, I don't know, you were sleeping. It was crazy.
Selena does get into the food. She avoids tables that aren't there.
I'd walk her into the bathroom, have her stand in the shower, not turn the shower on, just stand her there and then close the curtain and go back to bed.
So many things you could do.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, Keys is a good man. You're a good man, Keys. I just want you to know that.
I'd go for like a broom in the hand or something. Like the
Well, she's
mowing the
done
lawn.
housework sometimes.
Washcloth.
And
Just see
no,
what she'll clean.
I'm not suggesting that Keys does that to his wife. I'm just having fun. But it would be amazing.
Well, I
I
mean,
do
here's
suggest recording it.
the troubling thing, though. Like, I'm a heavy sleeper, and so like a lot of times, you know, if something's happening, except for I do kind of have like a sixth sense. You know, like I have great peripheral vision, but I also have kind of like a sixth sense of like someone. If the door's open and someone walks in the room, even if I'm asleep, like I still would wake up from it.
I'm dead to the world. You're not waking me up. I had a TV
Liz says you're going to be dead to the world.
Idle threats so far.
I'm like Keys. I think I'm a heavy sleeper until like in my subconscious something changes in the sounds around where I am. And then I'm awake. The bad thing is that I have firearms in every room of wherever I'm at, which is dangerous if there really was a change in the sound because I don't ask questions. I just shoot in the direction of the noise. And then
So
I go back to bed.
So this line was something Selena said in one of her sleepwalking videos. Pickles are like tiny angry men. But yeah, I had a TV get struck by lightning right in front of me one time, and downstairs in the basement on the other side of the room or other side of the house from everybody else, and I was the only one that didn't wake up. So I can sleep through anything.
That's crazy.
Once I actually get to sleep.
Listen, when I was in college, I had a lofted bed because I had a couch under my bed. I had a lofted bed, and so I was like 3 feet from the ceiling, and I'm asleep. And I wake up instantly. Room's pitch black. I can't see anything, but I kind of keep seeing this motion in front of my eyes. And it's a bat. It woke me. It wasn't making a sound. Like there was just enough break in the darkness, like, you know, the motion, it was still dark motion to wake me up. Even though I'm a heavy sleeper. So there's something.
And where was this?
What was that?
Where was this?
Where was it? It was in Iowa.
Did you move after that?
No, what I did was I mounted a tennis racket on my wall so that I could grab it. And the kid in the dorm room next to me, a little scary, but he took his Nerf guns and he put nails or something in them. And then he would come in and like shoot at the bats. Yeah, scary dude. A little bit. And the funny thing is he was an extra on The Walking Dead for a few seasons. So,
which one?
Did you make friends with that guy? Because that is awesome.
Yeah, get him on your side so he doesn't take you out in the middle of the night with freaking nails.
Yeah.
Guns turned into nail guns.
So I had 2 bats in that room that I know of. And I took one out with my tennis racket. And he took out the other one with one of the darts because, like, I sent him a text one night and like, hey, I got a bat in my room. Like, this was before I had the tennis racket mounted. As soon as he flips on the light, he sees it and he shoots with the gun and he hit it. No, I had 3 bats because the third one I moved to a different room and I trapped it. I was cooking my own food. So I had some pans in my room and I trapped the bat up against my desk with one of the pans. And then I put something there so the pan wouldn't move because it's the middle of the night. I'm too tired to deal with this bat. And I woke up in the morning and it was dead. So like, apparently I put it up. put the pan up against my desk tight enough that it cut off all the oxygen. I hope I don't get arrested for that because I don't think you can kill bats.
In other words, boys,
sounds like this guy hates Batman.
In other words, guys,
Training.
Keys is killing Batman.
Well, he did it more viciously. I did it accidentally on the second one, but this kid also took the one bat and he stuck it on someone else's door, like their dorm room door. Like he used like push pins or something, and like had it folded out on the outside of their door. So, yeah,
he's going after them next in their sleep.
Good times. Chiefs and Dolphins.
What? Football?
Football, yeah, football. Chiefs and Dolphins. Dolphins have a huge list of players who were limited in practice today. I still think that is kind of a coaching gimmick they're trying to do so that we have no idea who's playing or not. But this game is supposed to be the fourth coldest game in Arrowhead history. So how do you guys think that hurts the Dolphins? Or do you think it does?
Sorry, what was the question?
How do you think this is supposed to be supposedly the fourth coldest game in Arrowhead history? So my question was, how do you guys think that this affects the Dolphins?
Well, I don't think it'll affect us, but yeah, I think it's going to be way too cold for them. Tyreek isn't going to move like he usually does because he's been babied by warm weather. Did I say baby? I meant it.
And have a good night, Liz. Thanks for being here with us.
Love you. Good night.
Yeah, I still think that last year or two, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seemed like Tyreek's last year or two, he was constantly dealing with quad tightness, some hamstring tightness,
Calf.
like all throughout the last couple of seasons or so. He moves to Miami just like old people do, and all of a sudden, those joints and muscles get looser and feel a lot better. We're talking sub-zero temps Saturday night. You think that's going to play an issue with Tyreek at all?
I want McDuffie to make him fumble again.
Oh, that would be funny.
Specifically McDuffie.
Why specifically McDuffie, though?
Because we got him after the trade. We were able to trade up and get McDuffie.
Yeah, who else did we get, though, with those picks? So we should have everybody.
Brian Cook.
Oh, well, he can't be involved.
Right. Seems like Brian Cook.
Yeah, the list of players that the Dolphins have lost the last couple of weeks is crazy. And the Bills are still a pretty physical team. So
didn't we lose some too?
Last couple of weeks?
Last week.
Well, we lost Wanye. McKinnon's probably done for the rest of the season. He had core surgery.
Justin Ross was a hamstring or calf.
Yeah,
no, Ross was a hamstring, but he was a full participant in practice.
And he also wasn't a big part of our offense in any way. So,
well, the problem is nobody really was because Blaine Gabbert was throwing the ball to, I don't know, Casper.
Blake Bell for some reason.
I mean, so.
Why is he even on the team?
You know what? You know what? Ross jumped up and caught a ball for 10 yards. Which is something none of our other receivers did. And he had two catches in the game. Yeah. And Ross had 2 catches in one game, which is more catches than MVS has had in 5.
Wow.
So He's
That guy shouldn't be
already.
on the team either.
Oh, we're gonna lose a lot of people next year. Like MVS is gone, or as my boys at Chiefs Corner call him, MV ass.
Like that.
Clyde's probably gone unless he comes back on a super team friendly like Charkandrick West type deal. You'd have to assume Jones is probably gone.
There's Snead, Willie Gay, Nick Bolton. We have to sign.
See, I'm really worried.
Watson
Jones
was who I was trying to think of with the hamstring calf.
I say Jones is gone. The
Jalen
problem
Watson.
is we have a history of paying for otherworldly defensive backs when they have nagging injuries and then not getting the same production out of them after they get paid. And Snead's on, he was limited again at practice today with that stupid knee.
This is
That
not the
worries me a
time.
little bit.
Yeah.
Well, but I think MVS is gone. I think Sky is gone. I think McKinnon is gone.
And McKinnon's hurt. I'm upset about that.
He's got that core injury and he's over 30.
And they had surgery. But yeah, he's over 30 as a running back.
Right. And he's had the 2 knee surgeries, the core surgery, the shoulder. The injuries are starting to pile up.
Yeah, I've said this in the RGR Discord. I'm going to keep saying it. I love McKinnon, but he cannot come back to this team on the 53-man roster next year. If we bring him back, he has to be a practice squad guy. He just has to be. And that's basically the way he was used this year. He only played in a few regular season games, and we kept hearing, well, we're saving him for the playoffs. We're saving him for the playoffs, and now he's not even going to play in the playoffs. You just can't do it. You have to have him as a practice squad guy next year, not as a guy on your 53 roster, not as one of your top 3 or 4 running backs. You have to have someone you can depend on. He was the main guy that we went to in pass pro. He was our main receiving running back. It's hard to talk about, as far as we've talked a lot about the receivers and this offense taking a step back this year, but McKinnon was a huge part of our offense last year that we really lost a lot of snaps from and a lot of targets from.
And our receivers look like they took a step back, but the second string looked like they took a step forward in the game against the Chargers. They didn't put points up, but you know what they were doing? Catching the ball and going up and fighting for it. Also, I'm going to throw something out there for you. You ready? Don't beat me over the head with it. Or don't beat me over the head too bad. If the Eagles and Chiefs both lose early in the playoffs, do the Kelceys retire together so they can go into the Hall of Fame together at the same time? Do they agree to play one more year?
I never thought about them doing that. That is a good point.
I mean, Jason is 36, 37, playing one of the toughest positions in football. I know everybody's going to say, oh, quarterback, running back, blah, blah, blah. Those guys face 300-pound guys that move like small vehicles on every single play. And he has been thinking about retiring for the last couple years. And Travis has said that he's been thinking about retiring a lot more than anybody realizes. They're both surefire first ballot Hall of Famers. They love doing things together. They're a tight-knit family. I could see them both going out the same year so they both can get inducted the same year and be each other's speaker and calling it a career. Jason at 37, Travis at 34, 35. I mean, their legacies are cemented. Jason is considered probably the greatest center of all time, and Travis is arguably considered the greatest tight end of all time.
Even though he chose not to make it an 8th season with 1,000.
I agree why he didn't do it.
Well, it wasn't 16
I-
games either, so
I think if you go to chase stats, and those guys on the other team who play with pride, whether they're losing or winning, know you're out there just to put stats up on them. Like, they're playing extra hard and maybe trying to tackle you extra hard. And I mean, I'm sure he watched the game.
they
where
always
Laporta-
try to take him out.
Well, and then look at this. Laporta shouldn't have played in the Detroit game, and now he's out.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people that were playing that should not have been playing with teams that didn't have anything to play for, and people were getting hurt.
Chris Jones. He
Yeah.
didn't get hurt, but he shouldn't have been playing.
Yeah, because in all reality, and I was looking this up, the Chiefs could have gave him that money because of the way his contract is set up. They could have spread out that instead of it hitting the cap next year or this year or whatever most likely not to be earned incentives do or whatever. The way they schedule his contract, they could have spread that out over 5 years at $1.25 million. Over 5 years, I would just gave it to him.
Really?
And said, yeah.
That's all right. So that's why I don't think there's any chance he's back next year. Right? Like, I think if they had any intentions of making him an offer and hoping he might consider it, I think you pay him that incentive for goodwill. And I think the fact that they didn't tells you they have no intentions of bringing him back next year.
I think they tag him and trade him so they get some kind of value out of it.
That's what I think as well.
Which is what I would do because somebody's going to give you good stuff for him. I think you tag him and trade him and get as high up. I think you tag him, trade him, get as high up as you can, and either get an elite left tackle. You get Brock Bowers from Georgia, the tight end, to replace Kelsey, who's eventually going to retire. Or you either get Neighbors, Harrison Jr., or that boy from Washington that seems to catch everything thrown his way.
And to Travis Kelce,
We could have had Travis's replacement if Brett Veach had listened to me and just drafted my boy, Sam Laporta.
there we go.
I'm just saying. We could have had Rashee Rice and Sam Laporta in this offense. And how much different would it look, especially when Noah Gray would then be your third tight end this season? Blake Bell's not even on your roster. Noah Gray's your third tight end. You have another yak guy in Sam Laporta. Plus, he's getting to learn the position every day from Travis Kelce. I'm just saying. I got to let it go because it's going to kill me. But
I like it.
Well,
I like it, brother.
I think with Travis Kelce that you got to look at him getting older, but I think he's still got a couple good seasons left in him. But I think stuff is starting to hurt more. If you remember back to training camp, he was getting in fights because they were going a little extra at him. Not like trying to hurt him or anything.
Yeah, but you know what? Like he complained about that, but what we saw in training camp is what made this defense what it is. Them going that hard all the time. Like, I can appreciate it.
And Tom got away with a lot of underhanded shit when he'd try to trip people. He'd be throwing elbows at him. Whoever sacked him or knocked him down. Stuff was hurting more. He's getting older.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing a position where he gets hit all the time. Maybe he went into this season, he's never really been healthy the whole season. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that he's talked about retirement, Jason's talked about retirement, like, I think. And plus, he's got, like, the commercials now. They're looking at him for movie scripts.
And
He's
everybody
dating Taylor.
goes to Kelce.
Yeah, he's dating Taylor Swift, which who knows how long that'll last. But even still, like, all that stuff. Like he's got all these other things he can do now. You
I'm
know what I'm
still
saying?
waiting for his song.
And he's still young. You know what I mean? Like he's still young.
Is it 34 and 36? Do you
Yeah.
remember their ages?
Yeah, Jason just
Yeah.
turned 36. That sounds about right on Travis. Hannah, you should have this memorized. Yeah, Travis turned 34 like a month before Jason turned 36.
So you
I
leave
know
out of the
Liz.
game. You leave the
No
game.
night, we're back.
You
You
spelled it
leave the
wrong,
game.
Matt.
You retire from the game as the best at your two respective positions, considered by a lot of people the greatest ever at your positions. And you go out, maybe not with a world championship on top, but you go out on top, like at the height of your powers, basically. You know what I'm saying? And you just call it. Kylie has said she wants Jason to retire before he's too banged up, bruised up, and old to get in the floor and play with the kids. You know what I'm saying? That tugs at you a little bit when you're a good family man like he is. You know what I mean?
So, injuries for the Dolphins. I don't know if you guys saw that the Dolphins signed Justin Houston. Have you guys been paying attention to all the injuries that they've had the last couple of weeks now? They this isn't the same team. This isn't the not that the defense was all that great when we faced them the first time, but their linebacking crew, their pass rushing crew is going to be very diminished. They still have a great defensive line. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, Christian Wilkins is still a beast, and there was a couple other guys on there that gave us a little bit of problems. But of course, Bradley Chubb got hurt, right? I think Xavier Howard is out.
Xavier Howard is injured.
That's a
Look,
big one.
they have a fierce defensive line. The problem is the majority of those guys that played the majority of their snaps are all out. So you've got Melvin Ingram, you've got Justin Houston,
now.
you've got is it Okafor that's there as a
Yeah, I think
situational
so, yeah.
pass rusher? So if I was Andy, I know that they're depleted on defensive line. I go to Patrick and I go 2-minute offense all game. You know what I'm saying? Like we're for the first 50 plays, we're just going to do 2-minute offense. We're going to stay on the field. We're not going to huddle up. We're just going to line up in Agba. That's right. We're going
We
to
don't
line
do
up
that,
and we're just
but we
going to
should.
go.
How many
Yeah, but
ex-Chiefs do they have?
Well, now they have like 3, right? 2?
Sounded like more.
3. Ingram, Agba, and Houston.
Tyreek?
Well, I was just talking about on the defensive line or
Oh,
the defense.
I'm saying in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah, Tyreek, yeah, I guess that's 4. I don't think they have any more than that.
I mean, I legit was excited for this game. And I was like, I haven't been. I'm going to fly back. I'm going to go to the stadium. I'm going to go for this wild card game. And then the weather reports started coming through.
They were the ones that grabbed Albert Wilson after the Mahomes first game.
So then I said, I ain't going.
Yeah, I saw that tickets are going for like $50, $70 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simply because of
Cold
the
as
weather.
hell.
I got a box. I sold mine for $250 a piece.
Oh. We see how it is, Gooch. Aaron and I see how it is.
Y'all
But,
weren't going. Y'all weren't
It's
going
cold
to
as
that.
hell.
I wasn't even going to that. Are you kidding?
How cold is the box?
It's not inside there. It's going to be cool in there, but it's going to be cold regardless because it's going to be -19 at kickoff, and that's not counting the wind chill. Is what they're guesstimating
really?
right now. Yeah, that's what they're estimating right now.
I was assuming that was with the wind chill.
And I'm not doing that. Like I'm not, and it's not even about in the box, bro. When you get into Arrowhead and we're going to go next year for sure. That's nothing but swirling wind the second you get in there. It's like the wind doesn't stop. It just blows around that stadium in a continuous, like almost like tornado of sound and cold. And you don't want none of that. And the only best thing they serve hot there are the hot chocolates with what's that cinnamon whiskey in it? I can't think of the name of it now.
Hot
You know what
damn.
I'm talking about, though. Yep, not hot damn, the other one. Yeah, hot damn. That's
Goldschlager?
it. No, hot damn. They sell hot chocolate with hot damn in it, but them shits is like $10.
Good
$10.
lord. And it's
And
probably
the cups
about
aren't.
that big.
Yeah, the cups aren't very big, bro.
Fireball. Matt
Fireball.
just said. That's what I was trying to think of too.
Yeah, it's going to be cold, but and so I kind of wonder with all the players that they have listed, if a fraction of the guys they have listed as limited are actually physically limited, and this isn't just McDaniel playing games with the injury report.
Are you going for peppermint schnapps there, Dan?
Unless that's a drink, I don't know.
Before
Yeah,
you
I
get
don't
into
know that
that,
one if it isn't.
are you guys buying Peacock?
I already have it.
I'm not sure. We have all kinds
You know-
of stuff.
You know what this is, right? This is a prelude to paying for the Super Bowl.
Schmops.
Well, if they think it is, I think they'll hear the feedback that they're getting right now because I haven't heard anyone spell it. Oh, sorry, anyone
Schmops.
like it. Yeah,
Yeah, no, nobody likes it.
it's
but
like
this is the test-
SCHNAUP or UUP or something.
This is why they did it in Kansas City, because of the Taylor Swift effect. They assume Taylor's going to be there. They throw it on Peacock. People buy Peacock even if it's for a month. The NFL gets a piece of that, and then all of a sudden it leads to, well, everybody watches the Super Bowl.
Hopefully
We'll
a free
charge
month.
$39.99 for the Super Bowl, and the 150 million, 200 million people that are watching it at home will pay it, and you can easily make $1 billion in one night. You know what I'm saying? Then it just becomes a pay-per-view thing.
Well, it's the one event that because people pay for the commercials, you wouldn't pay to not see the commercials. What they could do though is make you pay $39.99 to not have to listen to like Joe Buck and Chris Collinsworth and Troy
I would pay it.
Aikman call the game.
I'll pay it.
Now that would be worth it.
Might as
Okay,
well
now
throw
if
in
that-
Tony.
Now, look, for real, like honestly, if they did that for the Super Bowl or whatever, and I got the Manning cast, sign me up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was straight pay. I wouldn't even think about it. Like, here's my card, take my money.
Yeah, I think Knight is right. People would just have way more watch parties than they probably already do, but I don't know. There's already going to be illegal streaming. I'm not going to list one of those locations, but there's already illegal streaming here. Dan says they also got Bruce Irving to go along with Justin Houston.
You know what irks me about that really though is like, I'm not gonna go there.
What's that?
Do it.
34 and 36. I am what irks me about that is, what did I pay the $89.99 for NFL Plus with Red Zone and all that? What did we spend $30 or whatever it was for YouTube TV for, if you're going to throw games on streaming platforms that not a lot of people watch?
Yeah, NBC clearly threw them a good chunk of money.
You want me to watch all these other crappy games, and then you want me to pay to watch my team play? That's right.
We're actually gonna get rid of Dish finally. We have
Nice.
so many apps on Fire Stick.
Knight says that Houston and Ingram are 34 and 36. Between the two of them, they played 8 total games this year. Listen, I don't think this is such a bad thing, right? If Wanye Morris was our starting left tackle in this game, I think it would be worse. I think these guys, physically, they've lost a step. You have that veteran savviness there, but Donovan Smith is a veteran himself, which I think kind of gives you, it helps you, right? If it's Wanye out there, athletically, he's probably better than these guys are at their age at this point. But they're savvy veterans. They know veteran edge rush moves. But Donovan knows what they know. I think this swings the momentum back to Kansas City. They lost Bradley Chubb. What game was it? Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
I think it was last week.
Against the Bills. Or was it before the Bills? But you guys weren't on here yet.
It was before the Bills.
It might have, I think it was a week or two before. You guys weren't on here yet when I was talking about Chris Jones, but they also lost Andrew Van Ginkel. That's a name that people might not be that familiar with. But which list was it I was talking about? Before you guys came on, I was talking about true pressure scores and snaps per pressures. True pressure score looks at, was a player getting pressure because he earned it or he got a free rush at the quarterback because of the scheme, right? So if you get a free rush at the quarterback, that's considered a low quality pressure. If you earn that pressure, by beating your guy, that's a high quality pressure. And which one was it? I think it's the other list. Snaps per pressure. Andrew Van Ginkel was number 6 on the list, behind Micah Parsons, Bryce Huff of the Jets, Owa of the Ravens, Aiden Hutchinson, Nick Bosa. He was before Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Quinnen Williams, Josh Allen, and Chris Jones. This is a legit pass rush player that the Dolphins no longer have against the Chiefs, along with Bradley Chubb and inside linebacker Jerome Baker. Baker was injured the past 4 games before the Bills game, came back to play the Bills game and broke his wrist against the Bills. This is a beat up defense. It's a beat up defense. We should be taking advantage of that.
Agreed.
Yes.
Dan knows who Van Ginkel is. To
Our
me,
left.
it sounds too close to Ray Finkel, which would be ironic because he was also a famous Dolphin.
Not for the right reasons.
Their defense is a little weak. I'd get Pacheco ready and I'd be like, all right, Hoss, here we go.
And then under center, play action pass.
Yeah.
Hand it to Pacheco, then under center, play action pass.
For those, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Joe Flacco give a play action fake class. That guy is nasty with the play action fakes.
Peyton was. I haven't I'll have to watch that this weekend. I haven't really watched Joe Flacco enough like that.
It's kind of a lost art at this point. They kind of half-ass fake it. They used to be really good back in the day. DeBerg.
By the way, guys, if you
Alex was real
betting,
good.
If you are into betting, make sure you check out Dan's channel. Dan Talks Football. He does a lot on betting. So he gave you guys a free little tidbit here. So
That's
make
right,
sure you guys
Daryl.
check-
Laces out.
And also, like, he does his records every week. I think I've only seen 1 week where he wasn't on the positive side of things. I think he's really only had one bad week with his sports betting. So it's obviously we don't recommend anybody gambling. If you have a gambling problem, reach out for help or whatever like that. But Dan's
There's a
definitely one if you're
PSA.
gonna do that. Dan's not a bad guy to follow. And he also there's another guy that he swears by. I can't think of his name right now. Dan, can you throw that in the chat? That other guy,
like George Papadopoulos or something like that. George something.
that guy he does his bets and he shows them all on his own channel and stuff like that, and whether he wins or loses, and he shows you his bets and stuff like that. So Dan talks football, and the guy that Dan recommends, definitely two guys you should follow if you're into sports betting. Again,
Which I am.
Again, if you have a problem with gambling, please seek some help. We don't want anybody to have that kind of thing weighing them down. Sports betting is not a career. It is just something to do for fun. You don't live or die by it. Please don't. Other than that, okay.
Your
I find
weekly
it better.
PSA.
I find it's better if you use Gooch or Dan's money.
Hell yes. Hey, Gooch, can I borrow 1,000?
My money is tied up into a lot of things that are going to be happening in 2024, unfortunately. So Gooch will not be sports betting. Gooch is now in the securing lines of credit stage of the business plan and all of that. So my money is tied up next year.
I hit him up too late.
So
Right.
how do you guys first off, did you guys see Mike McDaniel's speech to the team? You didn't
I
see
did
it?
not. I did not. Go ahead and fill us in.
Oh, hey, let me see if I can find the video here. It is something else. It is like the most it's like imagine a high school kid in a history class lecture. Let me see if I can find it though. It is like the most uninspiring, like everyone's just kind of staring off into space.
Is it because he's stoned?
It's just because
Probably. Say it, Steve.
I had to mute myself because I was laughing really hard.
Let me see if I can find it here.
Steve's seen all the movies with the drugs. Come on, buddy.
No, I wasn't going to say that. It's just like the most uninspired, like kids not paying attention type of reaction.
Throwing pencils at the ceiling and shit.
Right. Everyone's just kind of staring off into space. Like, can we just get this over? Just stop talking. Let us get out of here. We don't care.
God, he's stoned again.
Yeah, I don't think I can find it.
Don't worry, Keys. You can't find it, but because you mentioned it, like I'm gonna go look for it. You know what I'm saying? So,
My cat's on catnip right now. He's going.
If you're willing to bring it up, I know it's something legendary that we should see. Like,
I watched it and I don't know. It can't be the whole clip, but I watched it and I'm just like, this is kind of awkward. Just kind of awkward. It's like I've seen few moments of clips of coaches where things are awkward, and one of them is when like Pew is doing his introductions as head coach to the Cardinals, and he's walking up to the different players and he does his little robot or whatever. But yeah,
What are you talking about?
Gannon, the head coach of the Cardinals. Because that's what he did. He like did a pew, 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 pew or something to one of the players.
Got him to do the sound effects.
Everybody's doing the finger guns.
It was the most awkward thing I've seen. Coach do. Most awkward thing I've seen a head coach do.
Looks like Dan Talks Football has another bet he likes, which is Kelsey on the over on 57.5. But Pacheco is his number one bet. So if you guys have that to lose in case it's not a winning bet, you can bet that. But again, we do not recommend you spend anything that you cannot afford to lose on sports betting. Do not bet the mortgage. Do not bet the car payment. Don't bet the grocery bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm one of those people. I don't like change. So change is usually in my cup holders in my car until they fill up, and then I throw it in a cup and I roll it. Like, do that kind of stuff that you know you would have spent frivolously anyway because it just built up. Don't use bill money or stuff like that. Don't hurt yourself.
And there's your second weekly PSA.
Hey, I'm getting it out, baby. Just getting them all out.
Along the same lines as the first, but
Oh, you know what? I think it was a clip from Hard Knocks.
that makes sense.
Were they on Hard Knocks this year?
Yeah.
It was the Jets starting out, but apparently they switched at the regular season.
The Jets were on something else, weren't they? It wasn't Hard Knocks. It was something different, wasn't it?
No, because the Voice of God was on there.
Oh, did they switch over to Miami? Is that why it's Miami? It says like Hard Knocks in season or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
I thought that guy passed away.
What guy?
You said the Voice of God, right? The only thing I can think of is that guy that used to do NFL films when I was younger.
I think that's who he's trying to sound like.
Mm-hmm.
He may have even said that. But
No,
yeah,
we are not
Rodgers was a
being
big
no,
fan.
we are not being sacrilegious here on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. It's just there are certain people who have those kind of voices that are just made for what they do. It's
He's a pretty good actor too, though. I like him.
yeah. Was that him? Was that him? Knight Sable? Was that his name? Like he used to do those when he did it like on when they covered teams or whatever. It was always clips and he was a guy speaking of them or whatever. Like that guy was built for that. Like he'd lock you in even if he was just talking about the worst team in football. NFL films. Yep. Thanks, Knight.
All right, guys, I found it. Let's see if I can play it, and then let's see if we can do it without getting a copyright strike. Was it Steve Sable? He was one of those guys, wasn't he? Steve Sable.
I would definitely go with the over on that, Dan.
All right.
Oh, I was thinking Pacheco 57.5.
All right. Wait. I don't know if I had to click a button for there to be sound. You guys let me know if you hear sound. Once I play this, I might have to re-add it.
I don't hear anything.
Just stop it every minute.
You hear that?
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
All right. Let me.
But they're all they all look depressed.
I see some really unenthused people over there.
Here, let me re-add it and see if I have to. Oh, yeah. There we go. It says also share tab audio. It was clicked.
I think he was number 2 or 3, Gooch.
Oh, is
People that wanted to play for him.
Oh, was that him?
Oh, okay. All right. Let me try this different way.
Hey, Hannah, for the non-Caucasians on the channel, what is Rumpelmans? Is it Rumpelmans? Rumpelmines?
Rumpelmints. I'm sure.
Okay, let me try this.
Freaking autocorrect. I don't know when you would ever say Rumpel.
No, that's the name of it.
Really?
Oh, Dan's saying that's actually what they put in there. That's your peppermint schnapps that they put in there. Is that what you're saying, Dan? All right, let me try this again because it says, there we go, that I have to do this to share the audio.
I'm definitely not much of a schnapps fan.
Now, let me know if you guys can hear this, and we'll talk over it, hopefully, so we don't get a copyright strike. Give it a second.
Yesterday was hard
Can you hear it?
to deal with.
Yeah.
And
All right.
In times like this,
Just look at their
it
faces,
either
guys.
makes or breaks you.
Can you
And
rewind
I
it?
want to rip the Band-Aid off because here's
Who looks
what you gotta
inspired?
know. Our intent is to be great.
Like, who looks inspired?
Well, inherent in that is difficult.
Not a single one.
Not even
Like,
Tyree.
you
He's just
literally
like,
have to have
I got to be
difficult
playing basketball right now.
to be great. The reason why we're
He was
frustrated
looking over at the
is
whiteboard.
because we have high expectations that we've created.
Dan says it's only good in hot.
We created that. No one said, oh, the Dolphins are X, Y, and
see
Z.
that.
No, it did not actually. So our mindset collectively has no time for anything else but getting to the point where we're best equipped to do that. And we're doing it as a team. We are in this together.
I need to go spend time with my
Earning
wife. Shut up.
So, how
Not to-
inspired do they look?
Not to
Shut up
knock,
and let us get out of here.
not to knock him, because head coach of an NFL football franchise is a really, really hard job. But why does he look like? Why does McDaniel look like that weed smoking teacher that's just cool to hang out with and nothing else, and then nobody really listens to him?
Because
All
we're
right,
pretty
boys,
sure we've seen him smoke.
All right, boys, I done said enough. Let's go toke up.
Hey, Dan, I think Hannah's questioning your manhood here.
It really does look like it. I mean, I'm not saying anything, but it looks like she's,
Hannah, what percentage of alcohol is that?
she's telling you to step your game up there, Dan.
15
Age teen weeds. I bet he does his installs with Madden.
or 30.
That's what he looks like as a gamer.
And Anna's telling you if you can't play with the big boys, stay in the bleachers, Dan. That's what she's telling you.
Yeah, she's asking you, Dan, do you stick your pinky out when you drink it?
Shut up. My finger just does that sometimes.
Oh, 10. Okay. I just got a message that I got to be done here soon. You don't drink, you sip.
I don't
like
smoke.
that.
Now you're talking about Dan?
I smoke, but I don't inhale.
Dan says, you're right. There's not a way that guy motivates people like a Dan Campbell or, well, anyone. Yeah, I bet Sean McDermott even gives better speeches than that. Like,
Well, he did have a speech where he, discussed 9/11 in football and comparing those two. So
yeah.
McDermott reaching into his patriotism there for a football game. Oh, sweet Jesus. Hannah
I'm surprised by that.
Hannah has just pulled the punk card and slammed it on the table.
I accept that.
And then night.
Don't
pinky out.
Guys, if you like making fun of Dan, please go check out his channel. Make sure you subscribe to it. Join in every Tuesday and Friday night at 7 p.m. Central. You're free to make fun of him in the chat there where anything goes.
And
Anything
Steve
to get his
on
ratings and
Tuesdays.
watch time up.
And according to his statistics, you are 269% to be laid more watching his channel. That's
Now
what the
to be-
statistics say.
To be fair, we'll see how that statistic goes down after I unsubscribe.
He's kidding. We're not unsubscribing now. Subscribe to the channel.
So I'm gonna have to go here, guys. You want to stay on? You
Yeah.
can, but otherwise, score predictions. Or Gooch, you want to do the Chiefs lose if? And it's at home, so there's no airplane for them to get on, or get off of.
For this game, I think the Chiefs lose if the tip gets over 32.
I could see that.
I don't think that's happening.
I don't think it's going to be as low a scoring as it was during the regular season. I think it's going to be, let's say, 31-24. Chiefs take them out. 31-27, somewhere in there.
Let's see. The first game was what?
Huh?
First one was 21-14.
Yeah.
21-14. Man.
And our defense really stopped them all game. That was off the turnovers, I believe.
And that wasn't in the cold.
Right. It's going to be so cold.
Yeah, it is. They're a little banged up.
That's why I say keep handing it to Pacheco, because nobody's going to want to tackle that guy 25, 30 times in that cold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And play action really only works when you run the ball. All right.
I don't know. It's hard for me because I just wonder, we're having our laughs at Mike McDaniel's expense, but he did see what Spags did. And I'm not saying that Spags showed him everything, because he certainly didn't have to. But that fourth quarter, they figured things out. And as much as we want to praise Andy and Spags, something similar happened when we played the Bucs in week 12 of the season that we ended up going on to lose, Super Bowl 55. No, I haven't forgotten it yet. And hopefully they've learned their lesson since then.
It's definitely left a scar on you.
Well, because when the Bucs come out with the same game plan that they had the second half of week 12, which you should have expected them to, versus expecting them to come out with the same game plan they used to begin the game and get down big, I think there's something wrong with that. Likewise, if we come out in this game with the same game plan we used defensively, that the Dolphins ended up coming back on us in the fourth quarter, and they nearly came back and won. I think you have to anticipate that Mike McDaniel, as dorky as he is as an offensive or as a head coach, is a smart enough offensive mind that he's learned some things from that game and will have some things to throw out there. So
even with the weed
and the cold. So I think we have to have some extra wrinkles on defense, and I think we have to start with what the Dolphins did to end in the fourth quarter, as opposed to what we were doing successful the first three quarters, because they made an adjustment. We need to make our pregame adjustments based off of that, in my opinion. Offensively, I think we're trending in the right direction, and the Dolphins are losing pieces on defense, which would make you think that we should have a better offensive showing in this game. But let's not forget, one of those touchdowns that we got against the Dolphins was on that fumble recovery. So,
all right. I do need to go as well, Steve.
Yep. All right. I got to go. And so, guys, we want to thank you for joining us here. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Gooch, you want to pay the bills here?
Appreciate y'all. Everybody that came out, Daryl, Knight, Dan, Hannah, LT. Anybody I missed, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all.
Scott,
We'll be back next week. Scott,
Daryl.
I did a top 10, and we didn't have no sound, so I'll do one after. Obviously, I'll do something after the Wildcard Weekend and stuff like that. Make sure you tell somebody you love them. We'll catch you in the next one. Happy New Year for all those y'all missed it. Hope your New Year is great. Everything going forward is fantastic for y'all, and we'll see you in the next one.
And we'll be back.
You got your team, and we got a kingdom. Ready for war, we score at will. We're the Super Bowl champs, the king of the hill.